It's the last day of my Vegas trip. There's one more resort I want to check out, and that's the Wynn Encore. So I'm going to dial up an Uber and head over there. They've got a spot for me at the 1-3 game. I'm going to buy in for $500. That's the max. In the first hand of the session, which is the third hand I've been dealt, I'm in the hijack and I look down at pocket jacks. We see an early position raised to $20. We see a call from +1 and +2. It's on me, and what a way to start. Obviously I can't flat here. I bump it up to $120. It folds back over to under the gun, who thinks for a bit, and then he just rips it for $450. Well, okay, welcome to the table. When it folds back to me, it's time to gamble.
All right, gamble. Cool.
My opponent has pocket eights, so we're in great shape. Well, I definitely don't want to make a set. Good turn card and a clean river gives us a double up on hand number 1. A couple hands later, we're in the small blind and we look down at ace-queen offsuit. We see one call before a late position player bumps it up to $20. It folds over to me and it's time to put in another 3-bet. I bump it up to $55. It folds back to the late position player who calls, so we're heads up to a flop. The flop is 7-6-3 with 2 hearts, so I've pretty much whiffed here and the action checks through. The turn's a 9 of clubs, and I consider putting out a bet here, but I really have no equity, so I decide to check, and my opponent checks again. The river is a queen of clubs, so now I've made a pair. I've got to go for some value, and I make it $40. It's going to be hard to get called by much, but my opponent does end up making the call. I roll it over, and he grins, and then he shows me king-queen for a worse queen, and we win another pot. We get a switch to the vlogging optimal seat. We're in +1 this time, and we have pocket queens. I open the action for $15. It folds around to the small blind, who puts in a 3-bet to $35. I love seeing this particular player raise. He's been hyper aggressive all day, and I think he might actually be like some sort of European pro. It's back on me, and he only has $105 behind, so I rip it and he snaps me off. The ace on the flop can't be good. The board runs out, and he actually has pocket jacks, so we win again. We're in the big blind this time, and we look down at ace-queen offsuit. It folds to the aggressive low jack, who bumps it up to $12. It folds around to the small blind, who calls. Action on me, and the price of poker's going up. I make it $45. It's back over to the low jack, who double checks his cards, and then he postures for a minute before making the call. The small blind lets his hand go, so we're heads up. The flop is 8-6-3 rainbow, so just like the last ace-queen, I've pretty much whiffed here. I check it over to the low jack, who's trying to stare right through me. He's really trying to intimidate me, but I won't be intimidated. He checks behind. The turn is a 7 of clubs, and it brings in a flush draw. I check again, expecting my opponent to make his move on this street, and if the bet is reasonable, I might float since I don't block the flush draw at all. But my opponent checks again, so we'll see a river. The river is the ace of clubs, so we've made top pair, but the flush draw does complete. Even though those clubs come in, I'm going to go ahead and put a bet out, and I lead for $55. If I've run into it, he's going to let me know. He gives it a little bit of thought, but then he folds. We're on the button this time, and I see a hand that I've been seeing all trip, and that's queen jack offsuit. It folds all the way around to me, so I bump the action up to $12. The OMC big blind is the only caller, and the guys on both sides of me immediately indicate that I'm in bad shape against this guy.
Uh-oh. Nice hand.
All right, Pops, let's see a flop. I channel my inner Mark Ruffalo and I smash this flop of 8-9-10 rainbow. Probably the absolute best flop I could have gotten against this OMC. OMC checks it over to me, and I'm going to lay him a really good price to continue. I make it $12. Sure enough, he calls, so we're headed to the turn. The turn's an 8 of diamonds. It pairs the board, and it's probably not a great card. OMC checks again, and I'm going to have to size up a little bit, so I make it $40. The OMC senses he's behind, and he lets his hand go. I got dealt aces exactly one time while in Vegas, in the small blind, and it folded all the way around to me for a chop. I didn't play anywhere with any high hand bonuses or bad beat jackpots, so everybody just takes the chop, but what a bummer with aces. We're in the big blind and we look down at queen 9 offsuit. We see 3 callers. I check my action. We're off to a flop 4 ways. The flop is jack 8-4 with 2 diamonds, so we flop a gut shot. The small blind leads out for $15. I'm willing to call one bet to try to get there. Under the gun calls as well, so we're 3 ways to the turn. We immediately get there on the turn with the 10 of spades, and the small blind does not slow down. This time he bets for $30. It's on me, and I have a player behind me who's kind of steaming, so I consider a flat here, expecting him to raise some of the time, but with diamonds out there, I hate to allow him to just call and get there for real cheap, so I bump it up to $95. The steaming player folds, and it's back on the small blind, who ends up making the call, so we're heads up. The river is a 3 of clubs, an absolute blank, and my opponent slows down and checks. I consider a small bet to try to induce a raise, or at least to guarantee a call. This guy's led 2 streets though, so he's got to have something of value. So I decide to go bigger, and I bet $175. My opponent's giving it some thought. Maybe I chose the right size. However, he eventually folds, but we drag the pot. I messed up my footage in this final hand of the night, but we're in +2 when we look down at Queen 10 offsuit. I actually acted out of turn and tried to bump it up to $15. I told +1 my intentions when I realized I made my mistake, and he decided to bump it up to $15. So I made the call, as do 4 others. We're going 6 ways to this flop. The flop is Queen Jack 9 with 2 spades, so I flop top pair and an open-ended straight draw. It checks to me, and I'm going to put a bet out. I make it $35. I end up getting 3 callers, so we're 4 ways to the turn. The turn is a 3 of clubs. It's a great card because it changes absolutely nothing. It checks over to me again. I'm going to size up a little bit on this one. I make it $130. I probably actually should have made it more. I didn't realize how much was in the pot. If I get called, there are some really great cards for me on the river, and cards that'll make it really easy to shut down. However, one by one they all fold, and we win a really nice healthy pot to end things. It's been a good session. It's only been about 3.5 hours, and at this point, I'm happy to book a really nice win before we head out to dinner one final time in Vegas.
What a great session to put an end to a pretty great weekend here in Vegas. I won't lie, I was a little nervous at the start. Losing $700 at Aria the first night here wasn't great. I don't think I necessarily played that bad, and that's almost what made it worse. And plus, you guys didn't see it, but we got slaughtered at blackjack before that. So I thought it was setting the tone for what was going to be a really, really rough, expensive trip. But then I went and played the 2-5 at Bellagio. I felt very comfortable. I think I played pretty well. I had a good night. I had the second Bellagio session off camera where, again, I played really well in that session. I wish I had vlogged it. I was making all the right decisions and just running really well. And then I went and played at Encore today. And again, I think I played very well. Of course, I ran well too. Like, it's very easy to sit here and be all proud of myself, when you don't really find yourself in very many tough spots and your strong hands hold up. But overall, this was pretty great. I don't know the next time I'm going to be able to come back out here. Spoiler alert. My wife said the next time I come back out here, I have to bring her. And my wife is a ton of fun. That's not the problem. She's just very expensive, especially in a place like this. So I don't know if I'll make it back for a while. But today's session, we were in for $500, one buy-in, out for $1,436. And as you see, these were our totals for the trip. So we're able to book a win. I gave some of it back at blackjack and at slots, but overall, a great trip. And poker-wise, we turned a pretty good profit. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. It all wraps up with the meetup game. I've got the details here, and they're down in the description below. I hope to see as many of you there as I can. If you've enjoyed the series, please like, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.